This is Ones to Watch, where we pick 4 players from specific categories ahead of the European Championships this summer to keep an eye on. Today, the last one of the series is the turn of the forwards, starting with our first category. Okay, let's start with the dark horse, and yet again, we're shedding light on the ridiculous feat that Lille pulled off this season by winning the French League title. Of course, one of the main men in their surprise to not only PSG but French football as well was Turkish forward Burak Yilmaz. Honestly, the 35-year-old has had a bit of an upturn in his career of late, and in fact, this season with Lille was his first season in one of the top 5 leagues in European football. Actually, if you take away his small spell in China in 2016 to 18, it's actually his first season outside of Turkish football altogether. It's a big risk to take at the age of 34, and not many people thought he would come in and be such an important figure in Lille's title run last summer. But he did. He had a fantastic turnaround in form, and with 18 goals and 5 assists in all competitions this season, he has been absolutely phenomenal. As for his time with the Turkish national team, well, he's been on a pretty good run of late with them as well, scoring key goals in the World Cup qualifiers for 2022 and helping them on their way to qualifying for Euro 2020 as well. In fact, when you look at the Turkish lineup, his link-up play with Lille teammate Youssef Yazici is brilliant. He himself has actually had some pretty good appearances in the French league this season. There's also the threat and the ability of Hakan Çalhanoğlu, built on the solid defence of Soyuncu and Kabak. Having read through a few of these names, I'm actually convinced that Turkey themselves may be a dark horse for the competition as well. It's something that they are no stranger to, mind you. I mean, they finished up in the semi-finals of Euro 2008 and the World Cup in 2002, so it's something that they're not exactly a stranger to achieving. Honestly, if they do anything this summer and they've got some brilliant attacking play and they make it far into the competition, you can be sure that all the abilities of Burak Yilmaz in the attacking third are definitely something we're going to see a lot of. Next up, when we have the point to prove, and whilst this player, if you were to retire tomorrow, would still have an insane legacy in the world of football, the last few seasons have been a bit of a blotch on his impeccable record. He hasn't exactly been at his highest point. After a £100 million move to Real Madrid, former Chelsea forward Eden Hazard has struggled for form, struggled for fitness and struggled to get into the Belgian side. In fact, when you look at it, the last appearance he made for them was in a competitive match back in 2019. It's crazy how much of a different player we see these days compared to the one that was tearing up the Premier League and Champions League for Chelsea. In fact, if you're a Real Madrid fan, you'd be pretty mad if after watching him for the last 2 seasons, you see him this summer for the Belgian side absolutely tearing it up and looking like the player of old. Of course, he's going to have to regain some fitness and actually get on the pitch first for that to happen. So why does he have a point to prove? Well, in all honesty, because when you talk about the best attacking players in the world, Hazard is no longer in that conversation. Certainly not on recent form. At club level, he's got young and hungry talents already below him in his position. And although they aren't the completed article just yet, there could be a temptation for Real Madrid to stick with their youth and bring through the next generation rather than rely on Hazard to regain his previous form. As well as this, at international level, they've got some great talented players, not only youngsters, but the rest of the squad, to the point where they may not even need their captain anymore. Actually, talking of young brilliant stars in the Belgian squad, keep an eye out for Jeremy Doku as well this summer. He looks like an absolute baller. Anyways, a bad tournament for Hazard could really spell the end of his time at the very top of international and club football, with rumours circulating that he may actually be leaving Real Madrid this summer. On the flip side of this, if he does get on the pitch and proves me and the doubters wrong, well, I'm sure it'll only take a few seconds before you see his ridiculous quality, because of course, he is still an unbelievable player. He is, for me, the literal definition of a game changer. Having turned 21 just a few weeks back, I think it's fair to say that Dejan Kulusevski is still a young star, and what a young star he is. Having made the move to Juventus at the start of last season, he has done very well in their first team this season, developing and really showing himself to be a top talent. The thing is, he's playing along other insane talents at Juventus, but when it comes to the national team, he is one of their biggest names and their biggest hopes for Euro 2020. When you look at some of the bigger names, there's RB Leipzig's Emil Forsberg, there's Alexander Isak from Real Sociedad, but with Zlatan Ibrahimovic injured, Sweden are in need of a big player to pull out the big moments in the biggest games, and I think Kulusevski can be that guy. With Sweden looking to be defensively solid before hitting teams in the counter-attack, Kulusevski can be absolutely crucial in a variety of roles. His speed, movement and ability to carry the ball at speed see him become a huge threat on the right-hand side. But on top of this, when asked to play in a more central position further forward, he's got the physicality, the movement and the technique with both feet to also be a competent finisher and get on the end of moves rather than just starting them or continuing them. Having looked at the Sweden lineup in the last few games, it's A, unclear which formation they're going to play, and B, unclear whether Kulusevski would suit them best. Having said that though, like I mentioned before, with all the ability and all the talent that he's got, I'm sure even if he's just coming on the bench, he's got everything that he needs to go and change the game for the Swedes. So finally, we come to the end of this series with the superstars of Euro 2020 in the forward position, and if you thought it would be anything other than these two names, that's right, I'm going with two names, so I couldn't decide between the two. What on earth were you thinking? Two of quite possibly the biggest names to ever play at a European competition, with over 1,500 career goals between them. It's Robert Lewandowski and Cristiano Ronaldo. In one corner, we have Lewandowski, a man who's just come off the back of their most ridiculous season in the Bundesliga, scoring 41 goals, a record, in 29 matches. He's one of, if not the most complete number 9s in world football and an absolute goal-scoring machine. And in the other corner, we've got, in fact, I'm not quite sure why I'm billing this as a boxing match, although that would be rather interesting to see. We've got Cristiano Ronaldo, the current European Championship title-holding captain, a man who has scored more goals than anyone else in football, and a man who's chasing the record to be the highest goal-scoring men's international footballer of all time. So how will they do this summer? Well, we all know about their exploits week in, week out in the footballing world because they can't stop hitting the back of the net. But when it comes to Poland, Lewandowski really is their only main hope. I mean, getting out of the group stage would actually be a rather successful tournament for Lewandowski's side. But when it comes to Cristiano Ronaldo, they want to go all the way and retain their title, especially for Ronaldo, who came off the pitch injured in that 2016 final to become a weird sort of coach, mentor, motivator, manager from the side of the pitch alongside Fernando Santos. So he'll want to be on the pitch, score the goal and lift the trophy for certain this summer. Two legends, two leaders of their nation and two to look out for in the European Championships. That is all from this series though. Make sure you check out all the other videos like the defenders, the goalkeepers and the midfielders in this series. Watch out for all of them this summer. Let me know your thoughts below, and until next time, I will see you guys later.